Hey guys, this is my second video in a three-part series that I'm doing that's addressing the most common struggles people have when trying to live their life their way. And this struggle is the second most common, and it's not having enough time, both because of busyness and commitment to others. And this is a very common problem that I hear about all the time in my office. And I'm actually really excited about this topic because it's actually one of my specialties, and I've written about it and blogged about it quite a bit. So I just read the other day that busyness has become the new fine, and it's so true. When you ask someone how they're doing, the answer is almost always busy. It's become the new norm, and if we aren't busy, it's almost like there's something wrong with us. Do we not have a life if we aren't running around like a crazy person? Well, I think that there's something wrong with all this chronic busyness. It's not healthy, and we're putting this on our poor kids too. We've become human doings rather than human beings. And we have this belief that the more items we check off our lists, the better people we are. And I mean, that's just not true. All this busyness doesn't allow us to feel what we need to feel in order to grow and evolve as people. It doesn't allow for the unfolding and the evolution of who we are. We're caught up in running from one appointment to another, and we aren't stopping to enjoy our lives, to take it all in, and to gain wisdom. And busyness is a choice. It's how we choose to spend our time. Busyness serves as a distraction, not to look at our stuff. If we're running around filling up our day with busyness or taking on other people's stuff, then we don't need to actually look at or feel our stuff. We have so many things in our society today that serve to distract us and fill up our time with meaninglessness. How much time in a day do you spend on your phone or on Facebook? The average person spends up to an hour a day on Facebook. And that is time that you're never getting back. We need to guard our time and our energy as a precious commodity. We need to be ruthless and cut out the things that are unnecessary and drain our energy. Now, granted, there are certain things in our life that just need to be taken care of that we aren't going to be thrilled about. Like, I don't particularly love doing the dishes, but they need to get done, and so I do them. However, we want to be spending the majority of our time on things that fire us up, inspire us, and give us energy. Since having my daughter, I've had to get really clear about this. Just like with the money struggle, it comes down to resonant choices. I've had to get ruthless with my time, essentially, and get really clear about how and with whom I want to be spending my time and energy. I had to get really clear about my values and focus on doing what was in alignment with my values, and only doing what was absolutely necessary, and the rest of my time is spent with people and doing things that inspire and fire me up. I had to take a hard look at what was driven by false beliefs and what was driven by health and resonance. Also, another thing that came up for people was not having enough time because of their commitments to others and their family. So when we give more of ourselves than we feel comfortable giving, we're headed into the realm of self-sacrificing and obligation, which is actually an inherited tendency, which I won't get into too much here. But this state of mind can actually lead to physical issues such as chronic fatigue, insomnia, diabetes, and or cancer. So this is a very serious issue that we want to address. How many of you can relate to feeling exhausted and resentful because of continually giving of yourself? Have you ever noticed that no matter how much you give to a person who's operating out of obligation and expecting it, it never seems to be enough? I hear people say to me all the time that they used to be more outgoing and more of a people person, but now they find themselves needing to retreat from society in order to conserve their precious energy and to recharge. I used to have to do this. I was a very social person when I was younger, and I remember my mom saying that when I was younger, all I wanted to do was be with my friends and be out socializing. And as I got older, my tendency to sacrifice myself and put on a happy face for everyone really started to drain me. It got so bad that I found that I needed to start to retreat from society because I had trouble saying no when people wanted things from me. So I just found it easier to hide rather than have to actually set boundaries with people. I was exhausted and I was anxious and I was depressed, and this is absolutely no way to live your life. There can be a very fine line between doing things out of love and doing things out of obligation, especially where family is concerned. And when our kids are young, it's more difficult because they obviously need more from us, but as they get older, that changes and we can start taking more time for ourselves. Ultimately, we want to focus on the love and kick the obligation to the curb. If you ever hear yourself saying, oh, I should do this, then really, you probably shouldn't. You want to do things because you really want to, out of love. When we do things out of obligation, we start to drain our energy, and then we start to become resentful. If a person doesn't appreciate what we're willing to give of ourselves out of love without heading into the territory of obligation, then that's actually their stuff. It's not ours. We don't need to fix it, or we don't need to make it better for them. They need to deal with themselves. If we start giving more of ourselves in an attempt to make it better for them, we're actually enabling them. We're not giving them the opportunity to stop and look at their stuff, whatever they need to look at. We need to practice giving what we're comfortable with and what's out of love and what works for us. And that's it. Kick that guilt to the curb and start focusing on what it is you love to do. Inspire those around you and give them the space to do the same, and give yourself permission to set boundaries for yourself. When we do what's resonant for us, it will ultimately be what's right for everyone else in our lives, whether they actually like it or not. And again, I'm making the distinction between resonance and attraction here. We need to cut out the things that drain us and leave us feeling spent. Where can we trim the fat, so to speak, and eliminate some shoulds and people or activities that drain us in favor of more expansive relationships and activities? Where can we even pay someone to take over the things that we don't especially love to do so that we can be more productive doing the things that we do really love to do and focus more on what fires us up? How can we best give back to the world? We can focus on doing more of what doesn't take any willpower for us to do. If you haven't done so already, check out my blog post on following your excitement. I'll post it below the video. I'll post a link below the video. And in the meantime, start spending your time doing more and more of what you love, what inspires you, and you will absolutely inspire others around you to do the same. I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you some great tips, and stay tuned for my third video in the series. I'll talk to you soon.